this is one sad and dejected Indiana Hoosier fan. The Final Four is set, and it unfortunately doesn't include my Hoosiers. So, but the one good there's a silver lining in all that. It doesn't include Kentucky either. Ha! So anyway, enough. Of course, it's opening day of baseball, but who gives a rat's patootie? Apparently, some people do, but I don't. The question that was asked on one of the sports websites I follow on Facebook, what would make baseball better? And I said 24 super late models going around the game inside the stadium. I think I would make it better. Got back yesterday from the Carolina Crown, and I'm going to say it wrong. It's spelled Lancaster, but the people of the city call it Lancaster. But Lancaster Speedway, holy crap, that place is huge. I mean, it is probably one of the biggest. They call it half mile, but it is huge. That's the biggest racetrack I've ever been to. Good show over the weekend there, though. If you went to Dirt on Dirt, if you're a subscriber and you got to see the heat race number 2 from Friday night, it was Madden, Casey Roberts, and then the victor, Steve Shaver. That was some of the best 3-car action I've seen all year. That was good stuff. Uneventful were the other two heats, but then in the feature, 49 was just class of the field. I mean, really nobody had anything for him. I mean, just in the recent success. I mean, Davenport and the AES team, I guess, are just like fit for each other because they've rattled off 2 or 3 wins here recently. Without further ado.
What's going on, Webb?
It's Monday. And I've already said that. Who gives a damn about baseball? Are you a baseball fan?
Well, I'm not particularly a baseball fan, but most of my family are. And I just walked out of the bottom of the house here where they're having a opening day party, hoping that the Reds win. Go Reds! Not really, but. I mean, what about this kid from West Virginia, who's the Buck Wild guy?
Okay. How about let's choose better post bar. Activities leaving a bar, going the hell home, not
with a sober driver.
Well, I don't know if he was drunk but listen. Lots left to. I don't even watch the stupid show. It's not. Listen, mud riding is for like Sunday afternoons, chilling. Yeah. Anyway,
not 2:30 in the morning, drunk.
I mean, and it was in. I don't know. Thoughts and prayers go out to his family, but I mean. I don't know.
Hey, here's a moral to this story. If you're going to play with rattlesnakes, you better be willing to get bit, right?
I don't play with them, so.
Yeah, right. Well, that's all I'm saying. I mean, I like a good mud bog, but.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I mean, there was a time when I used to take. I would take a 2-wheel drive Chevy. And go run through mud puddles and with just regular radial tires on it, and of course there was occasional time when I was stupid and after, which I don't condone any of it. I mean it's all wrong, but there were some times when I probably should have been mud riding, but it was broad daylight at least.
Yeah. Well, I got a feeling that we will find out that this is one of those situations where somebody just had to, put it over the top a little further. And you know what happens when you keep pushing the envelope. But what about all the people? What about all the people saying there's this guy and that guy? American soldiers died here and there, but all they hear about is this Shane guy from West Virginia.
I mean, if they put the I don't know.
We don't do political, right?
Yeah, we don't do political.
Yeah. But
we almost yeah, we don't do political. Anyway, did you get to go to any races over the weekend?
I didn't get to go to any races. I've been working on lots of race cars, but did not get to go. And we thought about going to Moeller on Friday. They canceled. And then I had the option to go to Twin Cities or to Florence, and both were good options. And I actually opted to host an Easter egg hunt on Saturday afternoon. So,
well, our buddy
we did
John
that with a bunch of the kids. We challenged them too.
Our buddy John Kennedy found out what it's like to be a promoter over the weekend.
Because they canceled all those races.
Well, it was rained out. He didn't cancel. They're rescheduled, by the way, for.
That's what I mean. He got Mother Natured on.
Yeah, I think they're rescheduled for April 12th and 13th.
Yeah, I think those guys thought I was giving them a little bit more than what I should have. But I really didn't mean it that way, Webb.
It is what it is.
It was still a good show.
Yeah, I thought so. It was all right. Those tacos were talking to me. Pardon me.
You're reading Facebook.
Well, actually, somebody asked me a question too, but I also had a taco burp. Sorry. Sorry.
All right. Well, let's get to it. What was it like at Lancaster?
Lancaster was odd, dude. It was so freaking long. Like you could cut it in a quarter of the speedway off and just bring the turn in, and it was still too long. Like it was.
What is it? One of those tracks where they were just absolutely wide open the whole time?
Well, Blankenship blew a motor like in hot laps.
Ooh. Backup car?
Yeah, he had a backup car, but it was. I mean, it wasn't horrible because the one heat race was fabulous on Friday. I mean, great racing. You know, three different leaders, like 4 or 5 different lead changes, whatever. It wasn't an extraordinary feature by any means. It was pretty good. I mean, but nobody really had anything for Davenport, but he was definitely the class of field. And speaking of Davenport, hopefully he's calling in here in the next 1 or 2 minutes. He will start the show for us tonight. Let's just go over it real quick. Tonight on the program, we've scheduled a very ambitious lineup for everybody. Jonathon Davenport should call in the next few minutes. Got this guy named Steve Reeves. He's an open wheel pilot, races around Southern Ohio, Portsmouth, Brush Creek. But he wants to call in and talk to you about the one tire rule.
Ooh.
Then at about 6:40.
I wonder if he's a opponent or a proponent.
He's an opponent.
Ah, okay. He must have some money.
At 6:40 or so, Brian Birkhofer, winner of LaSalle over the weekend. And this guy's going to be cool to talk to. Dan Ebert. I hope I said that right. It's either Ebert or Ebert, but he's out of Minnesota. He's an open wheel guy up there fixing to bring his car down to learn some tracks in Ohio in that area with Jackie Boggs, but he could possibly have a World of Outlaw ride later in the season. And to end the show, the last guest of the evening, about 10 after the second hour, Scott James, winner at Florence over the weekend, plus my top 25. We haven't done a couple weeks.
Warrior house car driver.
I
wonder how him and Robbie Hensley are getting along now that he's with Warrior.
I seen it seemed like I watched. Did you watch any of that on Dirt on Dirt from Florence?
No, I absolutely watched no race. The racing input that I got this weekend was what I had talked about people with online. So I basically got their perspective of everything. But no, I seen none. Zilcho, nothing. I worked so much this week. And all weekend, and like I said, and then on Saturday, I was like, house full of kids wanting to hunt Easter eggs, go to Florence. And the go to Florence thing was so much weighing better. But, you know what I mean, we had to do what you got to do sometimes. You have to do what you don't want.
Oh yeah, especially
had to make the kids happy. They were and that was good. It was fun. I wanted to go to the races, but instead I spent my time with the children.
Maybe you can check it. Maybe you can check it out during the program.
That's what we're gonna do. Yeah, I keep getting this email from Michael Rigsby.
You get emails from Michael. But
I have to tell you about it. I have to tell you about it off the air.
But the track was interesting there, long. It was like they were running 18, 19, and 20-second laps, and that's just crazy, right?
Well, I mean, it depends on how big that track is, but if it's as big as you say it is...
Well,
here's an example. What a good time up at Eldora is, what, 17 seconds? And you're flying there.
Yeah, just to hear those...
That really must be a long SOB.
That's what I'm saying. Just to hear those numbers is weird. And like, it was taking the street stock guys. I counted it off. Like, they would come off of turn 4, and I had to I stopped and watched them go down the front. I counted off 10 seconds. It took them to get down the front stretch. So they're probably running like 25s and 26s, or slower. It was fun. I mean, it was just weird to see something that big. But all the people were great. Packed house on Saturday night there at Lancaster.
Lancaster.
And I got like the lady at the hotel. She was the first one to correct me. Because I said, "Where's Lancaster Speedway?" She goes, "I don't know where. I've never heard of that." She goes, "We got Lancaster Speedway." I go, "Oh, okay. We're gonna be funny now, huh?" But yeah, so they're serious about how to say it. So. And then, of course,
all right. The first problems of the night, Webb.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. The Blog Talk is screwing with me. It's okay. Go on. You're all right.
No, I'm not having any problems as of yet, but the night's young.
The night is young. That's a fact.
The night is very young. So this weekend coming up, I got I'll be going over to Jackson, Mississippi for Lucas, and then the next night, Saturday night, Kilgore, Texas. Looking forward. We had my top 25 poll, and I was looking at it today, and it's just it's getting very stale at the top. You know, 'cause you don't want to change it out because you know the potential's there with your Bloomquist, your Jimmy Owens, and Lanigan and Richards and all that, but it's getting very stale at the top. It's very fluid at the bottom of my poll. Well, I'm ready to get some of these series races going so we can really see who sinks and who rises or who stays where they're at.
Where do you think Lanigan's going this year? I'm going to make a prediction that he drops out of the World Outlaws and somehow manages to end up racing with the Lucas Oil boys.
Even if he doesn't, I still think Richards is going to just wax the floor with him, to be honest with you.
You think?
Yeah.
I don't know. I still don't have confidence in Josh Richards yet. I still think I think you're overrating him.
That may be.
Hey, that's my opinion, though.
No, yeah, that's fine. That's what polls are anyway. And it's like I got Randy Weaver in my poll. Well, I did have him pretty high, but I just think the dude's good. And if he races the races that he's talked about racing this year, the World Outlaws that get close here to the South and the Lucas shows that get here in the South, he'll have a chance to prove himself against a bulk of the top 25 or a bulk of the top 15 anyway.
Were there a lot of like local or regional guys that made that show? Was that the Carolina Crown?
Those are the ones that weren't there, according to Cody Summer, and nothing. I mean, Cody did everything right in my opinion. He even made them go double file restart, true double file the whole event, except for the last 10 laps.
Some guys don't like that, but
no, they don't. No.
I tell you who doesn't like that. Like if you're a guy that runs up front, if you're up front, you don't want anybody to have a shot at getting back at you. If you're a guy that's in the back mid pack, it's like a freebie every time you get a caution. So good for the guys in the back, bad for the guys in the front.
Well, he did that, but Tim Allen was there. We had him on the show last week. And Scott Autry, last year's winner. Man, they had shortened the race, right? There was only 60 laps this year, and true to his form last year, guess who comes up through the field to finish third? Scott Autry.
Oh yeah, that's what I see. I seen that he finished way up there in the front, and the winner, believe it or not, was on American Racers, I think.
Yeah, so it was.
I'm starting to wonder. I see a lot more guys where there's open tire rules running those American Racer tires, and it's really got me wondering, Webb.
Well, we are 17 minutes into the program, and Mr. Jonathon Davenport is yet to give us a shout.
Well, give me his phone number. I'll call him.
That's what we'll do.
You just shoot it right on over here.
All right.
We've got that ability. We're all high tech and stuff. See, my little screen, it even says you're typing.
Yeah.
Thank you. You're all the way in Alabama.
Thank you, Mark Zuckerberg, or whatever the hell his name is.
Zuckerberg. There we go.
He's got one move.
I don't even have to type the number.
Just copy and paste it.
Yeah, copy and paste.
But guess anyway, what? there wasn't a lot of locals there.
There's no pasties.
But they had 23 cars, and I mean it's a good field. I mean it wasn't like it was a slouch field. I mean you had Landers and Francis, Blankenship, McDowell was there, Cranksbolt showed up. Of course, Tim Allen and Autry, Davenport, of course, Madden, Casey Roberts, Steve Shaver. Steve Shaver made the Longhorn look spectacular. Probably the best I've seen the Longhorn perform, personally, other than Simpson. Simpson won, I guess. I think he's still on Longhorn. But Shaver looks to be pretty tough.
I am working on this. I promise you. But as easy as it is to dial a number,
yeah,
there's always something that can make it hard on you. Here, you want me just to bring him? Here, we'll just bring him right in. What do you think?
Okay, we'll try it.
Let's see if it should ring. Yeah, see there we go. We're ringing.
I hope he.
I'm not touching anything because I'm worried that if I hit anything, it's going to just hang up.
If you'd like to make a call, please hang up and try again.
It'd be funny if he has one of those funny messages.
Hello, Jonathon. Hello.
Oh shit!
What are they doing in there?
I don't know, bud.
Were they shooting?
I don't know what that was. That was him. I heard him. I don't know what the heck that was. Oh boy!
I heard. Oh shit!
Jesus. Oh, this is the joys of live radio.
You want me to do it again?
No, I'm texting him. He may not want to talk to us. Who knows? He agreed to. I texted him this morning. We talked a couple.
You talked to him all morning, so he.
Well, I know. I talked to him. All right, texted him. We did everything by text.
Oh, okay. And then we just called, and I don't even have any idea what number showed up. I was concerned that it was even going to call for a second.
Well, see, that's just what's crazy about this we know that it shoots all ones out. You know, that's what it says, 111, 111, 11111. And I hope that he...
Sometimes when I call in, you know, like when my number comes in, I always have a different number. I don't know why, because I'm calling from the same place every time. And I think I've called some people before, and it has a weird number like 661. Sometimes it's all ones. Did you see any of the race from Florence?
Yeah. Well, let's see if he's going to call us here. But the thing I want to talk to Scott James about later on is that...
There he is right there.
Oh, okay, there we go.
You want to just go to that?
Oh, it went away.
The thing you want to talk to Scott James about is...
Oh, geez. Live radio, I love it. Is that he had so much trouble out of the damn lap cars. Like, there's a 5-car... Like, off-screen, when you're watching it, you hear Scott James having trouble with whoever. I didn't catch the name. Well, then it comes on-screen, and he dives bombs, and this guy just comes up behind him and just hits him in the back right, tries to. Well, let's get him on here. Let's welcome to the program. Jonathon Davenport, is that you?
That's me.
Hey, what's going on, man? Sorry for the mix-up, man.
That's all right. I was in the shop there trying to mount a seat and didn't have much service, so I stepped outside here.
I appreciate it. And thank
Were you
guys
in there shooting a gun?
No, they was actually pulling decals off.
It was all we heard was a bunch of scratching, and then we heard "oh shit," and then we hung up. We didn't want to hear it anymore. Well, Jonathon, you guys, I mean, it seems like, and you've done this, you've made a habit of this as far as winning goes. You win in bunches, and this year, 3 weekends in a row, you guys have done it. How do you find such early success with the new team there at AES?
Well, you know, I just went back to my basics with those cars that I knew, and I got my motor program back where I need it to be, and Jason at Oleans has really helped me out. You know, it all really just was kind of struggling there a little bit, and I wanted to go off to a track that I really knew and know what I need there, what the car needs and everything. So we went to East Alabama, and we was pretty good. We won the race, but we definitely could have been a lot better. And so, but I knew what I needed to work on. I could make my area smaller and kind of just focus on a couple different things there and really turn the program around. And
the deal last year, I mean, it seemed like such a good deal for a guy like yourself. I mean, it seemed like a progression when you signed on with Clinton guys. I mean, can you give us any insight as to maybe why it didn't work out? I mean, if you don't want to, that's fine too.
No, I mean, it's all good. We just didn't agree on a lot of stuff, you know, and then we was trying to follow in Barry's footsteps. For me and him's worked together for so long, and him and Steve got together, and they, you know, changed the cars to where Steve liked them, and they wanted us to go in that direction, and that wasn't the direction I needed to go in, I don't guess. So, but, you know, it's all good. It all worked out for the best, and no hard feelings between either one of us, and we'll still say hello and hang out, and, you know, it's all good.
That's right. That's good. Well, and you've known a race against Rambo for, I'm sure, a ton of years. What's it like to have that big fella as your teammate now?
Well, I guess if we ever get in a fight, at least I got the right one on my side. Other than that, though, you know, me and Rambo, we've been buddies for a while, and, you know, I've been up here in the Carolinas for 5-6 years now, and I've always raced around him at different racetracks and everything, and me and him's always gotten along. We never really had no words, but, you know, he's fun to be around for sure. He's a lot of laughs, but, you know, we're teammates in one sense, but then also, you know, we race out of different shops, so we're not stuck together all the time. So it works out great for both of us.
Now, my co-host Brian Gray is a racer from Cincinnati, and tell us how unique of a speedway is Lancaster.
It's really different. You know, it's more like the old style tracks you used to see, I guess, back in your old videos, real long straightaways and kind of tight turns. But all the bigger racetracks, they seem to be getting shortened because everybody's that the motor bills are getting so high and everybody's scared to hurt motors, which that place is hard on them, but it sure is fun to race. And when that thing's right, man, you can definitely race all over it for sure. It was really good this weekend. Scott Austrie started in the back and come to the front and put on a great show. It was a good time.
And I asked you in post-race, going that fast down the front straightaway or the back straightaway, when you get to the corners, I mean, everything's got to cinch up a little bit, doesn't it? Because it just seems like it gets going so fast you may not make the turn.
Yeah, you actually work harder down the straightaway to try to keep the car straight, not upset it as you're going straight. That way you don't sit down on the left rear and make you push getting in the corner. But yeah, that one little split second, as soon as you make your initial cut to get in, you sure hope that thing turns, because if you don't, you're standing on the brake pedal wishing that wall wasn't as close as it was.
Well, it's funny you said something about... Go ahead, Brian. I'm sorry.
Webb was talking earlier that you guys were running like lap times in the high 20s.
No,
which is
low 20s, high teens.
Low 20s, high teens.
Yeah.
And, I mean, that's very out of the normal, I guess you would say, even for a place like, we all know how big Eldora is, and you still get around Eldora in 17, 18 seconds. So that place has just got to be, it's got to be monstrous, it sounds like.
It is a really big place, that's for sure. And it's one good thing. They did slow it down a little bit this year. Last year we was running 3/10 faster than the track record that Jared broke in qualifying that night. So he broke the track record like a 17:40, and in the race we was running 17 1s and 2s. So wow. It was definitely hard on equipment last year, but this year they slowed it down a little bit and made it better for all of us.
So, I mean, are you guys still winding them motors up on a track like that? You still got them cranked up, or is that one of those places where maybe you kind of sacrifice a little bit of gearing?
No, you really can't, because they are such long straightaways. You have to get off the corner there. So we definitely have to turn our motors up. And nowadays the competition's so tight. I mean, you can't give nobody any kind of advantage for sure. And me and Kevin Rumley was talking a lot about gears there before the race, and we kind of knew what each other had, so we knew our advantages and disadvantages on them starts and everything. So, it's good to have people to talk to like that, but you definitely can't give anybody any edge on, not laboring your motor too much just to make it last, because everybody is so tight these days.
Now, is that something that really, cuts into the budget, though, when you have to push the parts and all the equipment that hard? What does that do for, next weekend when it's time to go racing again?
Well, I hope we don't have any problems out of it, but, you can almost count the laps 1.5 at that place, because you're in the gas so long there, and you still turn as much RPMs there as you do on a little short track. So instead of one lap being one lap on your motor, you almost have to count it 1.5 laps every lap. So it definitely cuts into the budget on the overall laps on the motors and the wear and tear. And you definitely, where you usually probably wouldn't go ahead and change your oil after one race, we're going to go ahead and change all our oils, go through all of our fluids, everything, all back through our bearings and everything, just because you're at such high speeds for such a long time.
And I got to ask you, Jonathan, I don't remember which car, I guess it was on the crate car, but what was up with that roof you guys had on there?
It's just something a little different. Way back in the day when I first started, I had a Lexan roof on the car. I thought it was pretty cool or whatever, so I've been wanting to do it. And I got the wild hair last week, and I decided to order me up some Lexan, and I was going to go ahead and just do it all this time. So I done the roof posts and the cell panels and everything out of Lexan. It turned out pretty neat, I guess. I don't know. It turned out pretty much like I wanted it to. They didn't really show up as good on the racetrack. But it was just, something for the fans. I knew the fans sat really way above the racetrack there, and they could look down in the car. So, just a little something for them also.
Well, and I when I seen it, I looked over to one of the announcers and said, if he had some LED lights in there, that would really look cool with the Lexan. So maybe you can hook some lights up on the top of that thing.
There's an idea.
I don't know. Maybe we'll put some chrome wheels and some spinners on it next. That'd be good too.
For people listening, he had a tinted Lexan roof, and at first glance you wouldn't notice it, I guess, especially at speed. But then when Jonathon drove by slow enough, I said, well, look at that. It's a see-through roof. So we do have a way that we can light that whole roof up for you, Jonathon.
Oh, yeah? How's that?
I work for a shop up here in Cincinnati. It's called Spade Creations, and we do lots and lots of that, lighting the Lexan. Have you ever seen any of, you watch Cribs, you see these speaker boxes, and it looks like the whole box is glowing a color?
Oh, really? I ain't never really paid no attention.
We can make the whole roof glow, whatever color you want.
That'd be pretty cool. Well, we might have to do something for the world or something like that.
There we go.
Show it off. That'd be pretty cool.
Well, with the early season success that you guys have had in the 49 car out of the AES shop, has it changed maybe the outlook, maybe the schedule that you had envisioned, you and the team, or are you still going to kind of just hit and miss like you've been doing?
No, we're still going to hit and miss and everything, and like I talked about earlier in the year, our schedule is very tentative, so we can, whenever we're running good, we're going to go out. We're going to go to higher paying races, and so me and Steve Cook, the owner today, we talked, and since they rescheduled those 2 NDRL races next weekend, we're going to go hit those, and it'll be a good time. We got momentum on our side. We're running good, and I like Paducah. Paducah's kind of a close place to Lancaster there. About the only place I know that could even mirror it for sure. So maybe we'll go up there and run good, and we may go on to I-55 from there.
Well, I kind of wish I was going to be able to go to those races because I don't know if you remember, a couple of years ago you went on like a 3 or 4 race win streak, and I was the guy filming for Dirt on Dirt. So I've been at 2 or 3 this year. So good luck with the rest of the season and especially the races coming up. Before we let you get out of here, I want you to thank the guys that turned the wrenches on the car and also some of those sponsors.
Okay, well, I got to thank my new crew, Jason Durham, and Nicky Cochran. We call him Slim, but he's a great guy. He pulled an April Fool's joke on me today and said he got fired, and I almost got a little hot around the ears about that. But we all had a big laugh. But, I got to thank, Steve Cook at AES Racing for, giving me this opportunity, Mega Plumbing, Encompass Solution, Mega Electric, Olean Shocks, Fast Shafts, Swift Springs, Clemens Racing Engines, and FK Rod Ends for Gola Fittings. Just all the little guys that really make a difference in our program. We can't thank them enough for sure.
All right, John. Well, you keep up your winning ways, and hopefully we can get you back here on In the Dirt, brother.
Sounds good. Thank you, man.
Jonathon Davenport, he's probably one of the hottest shoes right now in dirt late model racing. Speaking of April Fools, Brian.
Uh-huh.
So, I'm Mr. Mom. Since I'm gone on the weekend, I'm Mr. Mom through the week. I get my little girl up. Let's just say that for school. And, but I've trained her well. She gets herself ready. I don't do all that. But
you got to train. Like, how did you do that? Did you put her in a cage?
I know. We just always made her do things ever since she was old enough to walk. So she dresses herself. I don't have to. But anyhow, this morning, the little turd did. She starts moaning, like, "Oh, Daddy, my arm." And, of course, I'm half asleep still. I jump up, I go, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" She said, "I think my arm's broken. It hurts really bad." And I was hook, line, and sinker on this thing. I was like, "Well, let me look at it, baby." And she went, "Ha, ha, April Fools."
She should have videoed it.
6 years. Well, I didn't know she was doing it. I would have. 6 years old, and she strutted all morning until we went to school. And the first thing she said when I picked her up from school today was, "I can't believe I was like, "Oh gosh, yeah, you got me." So anyway, well, let's keep the show going.
You're not going to live that one down for a while.
No, that's fine. Hey, I'm a joke.
That is I got Dad, and I got him.
She got me good because I was genuinely concerned. I didn't know she'd fell out of her bed in the middle of the night, especially after watching the Cardinals player yesterday.
And she's genuinely winning on that.
Oh, she got me. I bought into it. When she said it, I was just like, "Well, I'm going back to bed then."
Well, maybe it had something to do with that guy breaking his leg being all over TV.
No, I think a certain mommy put her up to it. I think that's how it got started. But let's keep going. Let's bring our next guest on. He's a open wheel pilot out of the Southern Ohio region. He races at Portsmouth and Brush Creek. Also, he's an ex-crew member for a legend. But Steve Reeves, welcome to In the Dirt, brother.
Hey, how's it going tonight?
Well, it started out a little slow, but we finally got the first guest to call in, and we got that taken care of. And now we moved on to you. We're a little bit behind, but you made it known to me probably, I guess, Tuesday or Wednesday last week that you wanted to come on and voice your opinion about a one tire rule based on what Gray had said. So I'll give you the floor for that. Go.
Oh, it's really, really simple. Brian already answered the question of his one tire rule, why it won't work, by what he said earlier, money. I don't have a whole lot of money, but that's the whole key to the one tire rule. Money overrides a racer. Okay. They've tried the one tire rule for years. It can't be policed. The format that Brian laid out, qualify on one tire, run the heat on it, start the feature with it. That's NASCAR own format. They couldn't police it. And or local tracks, are they going to police it? No. There's no way they can police it. They won't even check the cars nowadays.
They don't. Here's the thing, though. They don't. That's right. You're exactly right. They don't even check the cars. That's got to be part of it. That's not the one tire rule is just a simplification. It takes a lot of the guesswork out of the game. It keeps you from. You talk about money. You got to have money to buy a tire to go race, regardless of what tire it is.
Right.
So that's an irrelevant answer.
But with the one tire, you're not going to take in every track that's tried it. Okay, they take one tire. This is what you're going to run all night. And if they're not getting sponsorship from one of the major tire brands, they sit back and look, and they're like, hey, we got you guys locked down. You can't go race nowhere else. Next thing you know, you have these tracks cutting the purses. And in the end, you can't afford to buy a tire to even race it.
But see, that's where we're at right now.
Yeah,
that's where we're at.
And that's how it's always been. As long as you have tire companies sponsoring series and different racetracks and venues, who is the promoter going to listen to? The guy that gives him $25 for a pit pass, or the guy that gives him $5,000 for sponsorship?
But here's what you're not understanding. You cannot go. Is it Cleveland has their own tire, don't they, Webb?
Well, Dixie and Rome, I know for sure.
Okay, so here we go. Dixie and Rome Speedway. Let's take them for example. You know that even they have their own tires, but they are compounds like we have here, whether it be 1300, 1600s, whatever. But they have Rome or they have Dixie or something stamped on the tire. You can't go there and race with a 1300 that I got from here. I'd have to go and buy their specific tires. You can't go and you can't run with the Lucas Oil Series, even though those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 tires that they have are 1300, 1600, 1350s, 1425s. I can't go and run my 1300s, 1425s, or 1600s with Lucas. I have to buy their tire. You can't go and run UNP without running their tire. So tell me how having one tire affects a guy that doesn't have any money. Because guess what? That guy can't go and race anywhere anyway without buying a tire. It's already there. What we're talking about is simplifying it down. You have one soft compound that tire prep. I don't care when people say that you can put prep on it to make it last. Show me. prove that to me. I know that you can put prep on a 1600, a 1400, and make them fire. I know you can put it on a 1350 and make them fire, but I've yet to see one that makes them last. For what I know, every really good prep out there makes them burn all the way to the cords. So that's what you're trying to defeat. If you use a soft tire, look at it like this. Even on nights when the tracks are tacky and you make everybody run the same tire, that guy with that big $60,000 motor is going to eat that tire up, while the rest of us guys are going to have good rubber to run in the feature. And you give that guy the option to change tires in the feature after he takes the green flag.
Okay, but how are they going to police that? They're not going to be able to police it.
All they have to do is look at it. That's it.
Well,
when you go across the scales, you have
I can take a tire with a X-Acto knife and super glue and a little bit of dirt, and I can make it look like any tire you want it to look like.
Yeah, but I bet you if I took a little wire brush and I brushed over that after you rolled across the scales, I'd know right away that you changed it out.
You would never even know it. Or
I'll tell you what.
Do you think a
I
tech man's going to sit there all night with a wire brush?
I got $500 that says you can't change that compound. Bring it to me, and I'll tell you if it's been changed or not.
How are you going to tell? How are you going to tell?
Because you can tell when
you can visually look at the tire and say, "Oh, that's not what it is."
Absolutely, I can take a brass wire brush and brush over it and tell you right away if you've changed that number or not.
But visually,
the only way you're going to get away with that is if you pay Hoosier a lot of money to stamp a tire that you want with a particular number. And you can do that. And you can do that
because through the past several years, I've done it, walked through. Nobody's seen it.
Has anybody checked it?
Oh, yeah, I've had them checked.
How'd they check it? Look at it?
Look at it, rub it, scratch on it.
Yeah, you can't tell that by looking at it, rubbing on it.
Well,
it's real easy to disbond latex on that black rubber.
When you take and scratch with a putty knife and it doesn't come off, I mean, same as wire brush.
Let's do this.
It's going to leave a spot where you've cut through it.
Well, let's do this. The tire stuff is great and wonderful. It's fun. I mean, to me, it's funny.
But he hasn't given me a valid anything that says that that's a bad idea yet.
What? Well, one tire deal?
I mean, he's talking about changing the markings on the tire. Here's the thing. The only thing that you would do to that tire, if you were going to change that stamp, okay? Say that the tire rule was a 1300 compound. Say that it was just that, and that it was a Hoosier tire. And let's say that you are super freaking genius, and you've managed to take a 1350, cut it out, and put a 1300 stamp on it. All right? I guarantee you that 1350 ain't going to punch the same as a 1300 anyway.
But how many times do you see anybody punching anything? You don't.
Right, and that's part of teching it. See, if you get down to the point where you force people to do something, and you put something out there, and they're forced to do something, they will eventually come around and enforce it.
But they're not going to enforce it because
then
it's
don't
all about money.
Here's the thing. Then believe that they won't enforce it, and go on about how you race right now, and let's see what racing looks like 10 years from now. Let's see who's racing and who's not.
10 years ago, they've tried it. NASCAR tried it.
Where did they try it?
NASCAR?
NASCAR's been on the tire that they have that weekend is the tire you race on for years and years and years. They don't have a tire prep problem because everybody gets their tires and takes them right to their pit area.
When NASCAR first started, the format that you're talking about, they had to take, after qualifying, they would take the tires and impound them until race day and for the race, then they would put them on. Do you see anybody on a 2-day show having the ability to take an impound, 80 sets of tires?
We don't, and here's the thing: we don't have to worry about. You can go and you can do whatever you want to that tire. That's what I'm telling you about a 1-tire rule with a soft compound.
But
let anybody
I'm telling you, what you're not getting, Brian,
and do whatever you want to it. The only reason
that
they would have to check it,
as long as you have tire manufacturers sponsoring series, sponsoring racetracks, they're not going to go against their sponsor. I mean,
we're not talking about what's good for promoters, tire companies, or racetracks. We're talking about what's good for racers. And as far as I know, there's a lot more racers than there are racetracks and tire companies. There's a lot more of us in that low.
Time out, guys. I need to wrangle this back in. So the tire debate could go on if we could do it for another 45 minutes. And I'm not trying. There's more things I want Steve to talk about before we get. We have 3 other guests we got to get to at some point. Steve, you did some work with Blackjack Boggs back in the day.
Yes, sure did.
Tell us a quick story about working with a legend like Blackjack Boggs.
Look, Jack was meticulous. I mean, the first day I worked for Jack, he's like, come in, I want you to crew for me. I'd crewed prior to him, but, not as a paid crew member or whatever. First day I worked for him, I raked gravels and pulled grass and raked it back, and the theory behind that was everything has to be in order to go racing. If the truck had water spots on the wheels, he wasn't ready to go racing. Everything had to be in order, and by that, he won several races, and it's just how he ran his organization. It was tight-knit. Now,
and you were with him when he won. I think when we talked earlier, you said that he won one of the North-South 100s and then a Dirt Track World Championship while you were working with him?
Yes. Yeah, and Ralph Latham, we won several Speed Week races when I was with him, and pretty well in 91, dominated about everywhere we went. In 91, I think we won 32 races and had close to around 24 seconds. And that year, I think we turned around almost $500,000.
Goodness gracious! So I mean, what's it? So for the dirt late model guys out there, what's it like to have won? Say be on the team that won the Dirt Track World Championship. I mean, is it everything everybody would think it would be?
Well, it's everything and probably more. At the time, I was just 20 years old, and it took a few days to set in. Then after that, it's like, hey, I just accomplished something in history. And it was a great feeling to take and participate in that.
And another thing you mentioned to me earlier is, I don't know, a year ago, or not quite a year ago, but we had Jack Johnson from Hibbing, Minnesota on. And
yeah. A lot of people think Jack was the first one to straighten out our dirt track hero. But,
Hank, 1 second. But me and Brian are fighting over the button. 1 second.
It's the dirt track hero with Doug.
We got to play that every time somebody says Bloomquist.
Okay, yeah. Well, back in 90 it started. This was, again, over tires and tarping the cars and everything. Well, at that time, everything was open tire rules. We occasionally even ran lefter sprint car tires. And the big thing was primarily each race it was Jack or Scott. back and forth. And the big thing was try to find out who was on what. And, there was a few little excursions there between crews. And a few weeks prior to Ralph Latham, he made a swerve at me with his car, and, no big deal. But at that time in Florence, we was pretty well dominating everything off of one tire, and Scott was just an all by it. He never come around until after that race, first time he ever come to the trailer. And I knew something was up with him, because he never come. And then as he's getting ready to leave, he just nonchalantly tries to walk over to the left front and get him a little feel. About the time he got to the tire, I got a little feel of his fingers and took him back to his wrist. And we had a little discussion there, and come to find out, he didn't want the tire as bad as what he thought he did.
Damn.
And in all, we come to an agreement that, he'd stay away from our stuff, his guys would stay away, we would stay away from his stuff. And in the end, he was true to his word.
Well, now you're an open wheel guy. You race open wheel, like we said when we introduced you, around Southern Ohio, Portsmouth, Brush Creek. What's on your guys' schedule this year? Where can we see Reeve run at?
This year it's going to be hit and miss. From the way it looks, work's going to take over the biggest part of my summer, but I'm going to try to hit the bigger shows at PRP, Southern, and 201, work allowing.
I got you. Well, I know that you told me last week that you were not only a competitor but a listener of the program. So 2 things. Thank you for joining us tonight, and 2, thank you for being a loyal listener. Before we let you get out of here, I want you to thank some of the sponsors on the race car and also thank some of the guys that helped turn the bolts on your car now.
Okay. Well, I'd like to thank the guys first. Most importantly, they're what makes it happen for me. I'd like to thank Jimmy Vaughn, John Menardchuk, and Nathan Amaya. And sponsor-wise, Teenage Motors and Rosie Restaurant.
Well, Steve, you got the number to the program, so feel free to call in any time that Brian says something you don't like. You're more than welcome to call in, and we can talk.
I'd love to carry on this debate with him.
Well, all right. Well, we only have 2 hours, so we'll have to wait till we have a slow show, and I'll call you when we have a slow show.
It might be good for winter time. A lot of good entertainment involved, I believe.
That's right. Well, Steve, I appreciate you calling in. We'll talk to you. I might even see you at one of the shows up that way this year.
Okay. I'll be looking for you, Webb.
Steve Reeves, open wheel pilot. We're just going to keep on rolling. We got one of my favorite drivers on the telephone, Brian Birkhofer. Welcome back to In the Dirt.
Hey, thanks for having me on, guys.
First, I have to say thank you to you because you probably don't know this, but you assisted me out at Tucson International Raceway this year. I was shooting video for Dirt on Dirt on the front stretch, and somebody's like pulling my cable and pulling it, but it was helping me. And I was like, who the hell's got my cable? And I look back, and Birkhofer is my grip guy. So
yeah.
So thanks for that.
Yeah. Whatever I can do to help,
Yeah, I told Rigsby.
Kind of guy I am.
Yeah, I told Rigsby, I was like, you might want to put him on payroll because he was out there pulling grip for me. One of the listeners just typed on Facebook "Steeler Nation" and a bunch of exclamation points.
Yeah. That's all I've been doing is looking at. Well, they obviously don't do anything in free agency, so I'm just kind of waiting for the draft, see what they're going to get.
So it's been well talked about amongst all the late model fans this year that you've had such a slow early season. Is there anything that's kept you away from the racetrack until recently?
No, I mean, generally the last 2-3 years, I think I went to Volusia once 3 years ago. I haven't really started racing until late March, early April. I mean, we generally went to that first Brownstown race, but this year we tried to build 2 complete cars in about 5 weeks' time, and we didn't quite get there. So we probably could have made Brownstown. I think we would have probably been about 85, 90%. I wanted to be totally ready, so we skipped that, and we were getting ready for Paducah and Peebly, and obviously that got postponed, and made it to LaSalle over the weekend. Kind of got rolling a little bit. It felt good to get back in the car again. Unfortunately, the weather still feels like winter.
Okay, so I'm curious about this MB Customs thing. I need you to clear something up for me. Do you guys build those cars? I mean, when you build one of those cars, you have just a stack of tubing that comes in and you bend it and you put it all together, or does it start out? You get stuff from different manufacturers.
I'll tell you exactly how it goes. Yeah, I'll tell you exactly, because I've heard so many stories and it kind of ticks me off. Chris Mars and Jimmy Mars and myself invested in tubing benders, and basically Chris had built a car years ago. I can't remember what year it was, but then, the winter of 08 or 07, I can't remember. We got together, and I went up there, and I basically stayed up there on and off for about 2.5 months. We built it from scratch. The car was totally, everybody can say it. I'm sure there's similarities to every late model out there, but our cars are built from scratch the way we wanted. Nothing against any of the other chassis builders. But if you're buying a frame and you're going home and modifying stuff, and you actually have the means and the equipment to build your own, I think that's just where we got to in our career and our age or whatever we wanted. That's what we did, and I'm pretty proud of being involved in it. So yeah, it starts with a stack of tubing coming in the back of a trailer, and with Bailey supplying some awesome equipment, we've been able to build good race cars, I think.
Now, and Jimmy out there in Arizona, he was doing pretty good. Is that with you winning over the weekend? Does that give us something we should look forward to out of both of you guys? That's going to be a good season for MB Customs.
Well, I think we had a decent, but we both. I think Jimmy probably had a little bit of a down season, but I think the last time he had maybe a mediocre season. He came out the next year and won quite a few. So there's like a transition of how these cars are. Seems like everybody's, how their approach is on setups and springs and shocks and just different things that are going on in late model, I think, in the last couple of years. So I think we got somewhat of a little bit of a handle on it last year. And, this is my first weekend, and, there wasn't a bunch of heat there. There were some good race cars there over the weekend, but obviously there was a bunch of guys that weren't there as well. So I'm not going to get overly confident, but I think, I think we'll be fine. Just a matter of just going out and getting racing for me and getting reacclimated to just the grind of, getting there and trying to get things ready and kind of taking it as it comes. With qualifying, you got to start. To me, it's about qualifying and starting up front, pretty much anyway. So.
Well, speaking of this weekend at LaSalle, you made it hard on yourself on the initial start. What happened when you washed up there? I
went in there and I kind of hit a rut, and it kind of bounced and went to a push, and then it was just a matter of me hopefully Austin treated me nice. He didn't come in there and bonsai or do anything, and then it gave me some room to kind of keep racing me outside. I just went in there and it kind of bounced and went to a push instantly, and it was like, uh-oh. I didn't think I was going to hit the wall or anything, but I just knew I gave up a ton right there on that first lap. But we were able to get back by him and get the job done. Hold one of my own cars, not my car, but a car that I built. So able to hold him off.
What's the schedule look like for the 15 car?
We're going to try to do all the NDRL, I think that's what it is. 20,000 win shows. That's pretty much the only thing we're probably going to run all of them, and then just hit miss World of Outlaws, Lucas Oil, Summer Nationals, some UMP stuff. I don't know. You call it like an outlaw schedule or whatever you would call it. I just call it my schedule. So just kind of do the same thing that we've been doing the last few years.
And I made mention, we texted it earlier this morning about being on the show tonight. I made mention of the new door graphics. I freaking love it says Birkie Light, right? And it's in the style of Busch Light. That's what it is, right?
Yeah. Well, my wife always tells me I make comments about having a beer or this and that when we run well or we're getting interviewed. So, and then I was in between. I think I was coming back from Tucson after I was out there racing, and I got held over at Dallas, and I'd had enough of airports. And she goes, well, if this makes you feel anywhere, she tried to call and change my flight, and they called me Brian Birkhofer. And she goes, how fitting. So that kind of, and then it was kind of, I'd say it was more my wife's doings, getting the beer coffer thing going. And then I was like, well, why don't we do my number like this? So anyway, it's turned out all right. I mean, it's not something I can't put it on T-shirts and sell it to kids, but it's kind of how I am. I mean, I like to drink beer, have a good time. So.
as do I.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to call you anything but Brian Birkhofer from now on. That's so fitting of you guys.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it. It looks really good, Webb.
No, I mean that's when at first I saw it. And I thought my initial thought was, I said, okay, Brian's like me. It's got to be something goofy, and I couldn't see it. Then when I got a close-up picture, I was like, "You got to be kidding me! That's awesome."
As long as Anheuser-Busch doesn't call me and say, "Hey, man," I'm like, "Hey, don't say Busch. It says beer."
Yeah,
I was thinking that it's kind of a blend between Keystone and I don't think
Keystone, right?
Yeah, smooth like Birkie.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what they need to change it to.
You can't fill the smooth in there because then Moyer will be calling me. He's like, "Hey, man, you can't be stealing my Mr. Smooth,"
Well, have you pursued a beer company as a sponsor?
No, I never really have. I mean, I'd gladly take one, but I've never really, never pursued. I mean, I drink one Rockstar every morning, so I should get a Rockstar and a Busch Light sponsor, and I'd be set.
Well, rumor has it that Schrader's beer sponsor is all they do is drop off a pallet of beer at Ken's shop there in the Carolinas. That would probably do for you, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah. We find a fork truck, whatever we needed to do to get it off the trailer.
Well, all right. Well, Brian, we won't keep you too much longer. Thanks for joining us on Monday. I know you had a busy weekend. Congratulations on the first win of the season. A lot of people have been asking why you stayed in the I'm one of the voters for the top 25 at Dirt on Dirt. And you proved why you stayed in the polls when you hadn't raced. So congratulations on the big win.
Yeah, there was somebody somebody talked about that last week and said, hey, man, there were a couple of comments that, well, he hadn't raced, so he hadn't had a bad finish. I don't know which one of you guys or how it went down. It was kind of comical. Well, he hadn't had a bad finish, but he ain't had a good finish.
Well,
I was glad to at least come out and win. That way I didn't make you guys look like asses for leaving me in there, right?
Listen, we do that all on our own, Brian. We look, real quick, what does it mean to the drivers? I mean, it's obviously bragging rights, but I mean, is it something you pay attention to if you make the top 25 on Dirt on Dirt?
I honestly don't really pay attention. I'll click on and look at pictures to look at attitudes of cars or mine or whatever. I don't really look at much. I mean, when it's race time and then I come home, I mean, I'm especially when it gets nice. Heck, me and my kids are out playing baseball, throwing footballs, go over to my neighbors, grill out, drink beer, and just kind of do all that stuff. So I just go by if somebody comes into the shop and says something, great. If not, I mean, it's not going to make or break me, but I do appreciate, I guess being there. I mean, I'm trying hard. I'm trying to go and win races, and people that, wear my T-shirts, make them proud to wear it, I guess.
Let me know if you want me to do the Birkie Light shirts, I will. I'll take the heat for the.
Well, we'll sell them at InTheDirt.com.
Yeah, we'll sell them at InTheDirt Radio. Well, before we let you get out of here, Brian, go ahead and thank the sponsors and also some of the guys that helped turn the wrenches on the 15B.
First of all, I got to say happy birthday to my wife tomorrow. She turns 37, so, I know you ain't supposed to tell her age or anything. Well, it's okay, she turned 27. How about that?
You're in trouble.
Yeah, so, yeah. If anybody's listening to this, make sure you get on Facebook or whatever and wish her happy birthday. But I got to say, Zach Friel's been a really good guy. It's really brought me back to wanting to race every year again. So thank him, and Bill Schleifer and the guys at ProPower for the building good engines yet. The guys up in Wisconsin for the race cars, and ASI, and Doug DeMont at Cheap Cars, Jordan Zen's Ideal Ready Mix, and of course Scott Kaiser and Kaiser Manufacturing Integra Shocks.
Well, good luck this. Are you going? So you're going to go catch the NDRL shows, the makeup shows next weekend at Paducah and Peebly?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's the 12th and 13th, I believe, of April is what they rescheduled. Well, anyway, good luck. Thanks for joining us, and we'll have you back on in the near future because I feel like you're going to have a good year, brother.
All right, thank you, guys. Have
Brian Birkhofer. That's cool. Birkhofer. Is that not
Birkie Light?
Birkie Light. We gotta make a Birkie Light commercial to play on the show now.
I wonder if he wants one of them Dirt Track Hero signs.
Maybe you should make him a Birkie Light sign.
Oh yeah.
Birkie Light Road or Birkie Light
Expressway. Work on that. Get a hold of my buddy Wade Logan and see what he's got in the design department.
Well, all right, let's just keep the show.
What did you think? What did you think about that anyway?
I liked it. I mean,
does it need the hair at the end, or should we just get rid of it?
I don't know. I would rather, and I'll tell you about it offline because I don't want nobody jacking us. I don't. You could do one with the hair and one without, and I'll tell you what I thought what should be without. I'll tell you after the show's over.
Gotcha.
We got to keep some things in house until we do it. Well, all right, let's keep going. Let's bring new to the program. A buddy of mine named Kyle Hall. He's an announcer up in Minnesota. Met him last year when I was on the World Outlaw Western Swing. Told me about Mr. Dan. And Dan, you're on the air. I'm going to say your last name. Correct me if I say it wrong. Ebert.
Dan Ebert. Yep.
Ebert. Okay, so just like it sounds. Okay, Dan Ebert, welcome to In the Dirt, brother.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Now, the grapevine, and I told you it was Kyle Hall, but the grapevine was telling me that you guys have some well, first of all, let's do this. First of all, introduce yourself to everybody who's listening who may not be from your neck of the woods.
Yeah, well, I guess, my name's Dan Ebert. Kind of made a living racing and raced my whole life, from snowmobiles at a young age to race cars to everything in between. I've kind of been born and raised around racing and fortunate to be on the show.
Now, but we talked via Facebook, of course, but you're an open wheel guy, and you're about to bring that car this way, over towards Bryan near Cincinnati, Kentucky, and that area. And who are you going to be learning? You're going to be learning some tracks with a certain somebody there.
Yeah, it kind of came together. There has been some talks in December, and we've been kind of working out a program here, and going to be taking my impressive modified race car down, and going to be doing some racing with Jackie Boggs this summer. Be racing with him. Basically, going to kind of be a little bug that's going to learn. I'm going to have an open mind, and I'm going to go down there with full-on intentions of learning anything I possibly can, and hopefully learn from one of the best, from what I hear.
Oh, and especially in that area. I mean, you can't get any better than Jackie Boggs. Now, and so you're wanting to get into the late models at some point. Is there anything that you can tell us that may happen this year with late models?
Yeah, it's hard to say. Just going to kind of play it by ear for now. If I can, when there's time permitting, I'm going to hopefully run my modified down in that area, get familiar with those tracks and learn everything I can from Jackie, and basically try to help Jackie best I can in any way to get some top finishes and learn everything I can in the process. Now,
if this Boggs Ebert relationship, I mean, could that possibly put you in a Swartz race car?
It's possible. I'm not saying that it couldn't happen. That if you were a betting man, it could potentially be a strong bet.
And I wasn't trying to put words in your mouth, but I just know that's Swartz country and Audi. I'm sure you know who Audi is, or you talked to Audi.
Definitely.
Great guy, great guy,
super good guy.
So coming down this way, who are you expecting to go up against in your? I mean, you have to have Devin Gilpin in mind as somebody you want to race against while you're down this way.
That would definitely be awesome. Never talked face to face with Devin, but had some Facebook conversations with him, and man, what a year he had last year. I mean, it's just incredible. And
what a year he's going to have this year.
Yeah, it sounds like he's got quite a schedule planned again.
Well, so what I know open wheels are bigger in different parts of the country. Are they as big in Minnesota? I guess isn't it Wissota? Is that your guys'?
Yep.
Yeah,
it is, and it tell you what, it's really big up here. Don't quote me exactly on the numbers, but just in the B mod class alone, which would be like a sport mod down there, there's over 700 entries, over 700 licensed drivers. More Wissota A mods. Basically, I mean, all the way from street stocks to super stocks to late models, Wissota's a very, very healthy series, and it's very well run. It's a promoters organization, and there's over 50 Wissota sanctioned tracks up here, and you can do a lot of racing. It's pretty easy. My whole career here, I've run 4 nights a week, and relatively the furthest away would be 2 hours from our shop here. So, I mean, a guy can do some serious racing, and with 2 cars, you can really shorten the learning curve. I've run a A modified and a B modified the last 2 years, and had a B modified, started racing in 2008. So, been around the modified thing for a little while now.
Now, there's a publication up there that serves the Wissota. Is it called All the Dirt?
Yep. All the Dirt Racing is.
Seems like they told me that it basically just services the Wissota drivers. So every driver, I think, has a subscription to this magazine. But that's the reason that magazine exists is because of Wissota.
Right. Yep.
Huh. Back when I worked with Old Man's Garage, we had some dealings with All the Dirt, and Wissota just seems like a pretty good organization.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, so when you let me give you an example. Jacob Poole, buddy of mine, races Michigan Dirt Cup, open wheel guy. He goes down to Florida, and he picks up 2 Gator National wins. He gets 2 Gators to bring home.
Which I thought he actually went down there and shot 2 Gators, but
yeah, well,
apparently they were just trophies.
It's not swamp people, buddy.
Not swamp people trophies, but like trophies that you would get at a racetrack.
Oh, no, yeah. Anyway, so...
You're too easy to confuse, Webb.
I did not know what the hell you were talking about. I was like, what is he
Well,
doing?
I was genuinely confused because I really thought the guy went down there and slayed 2 alligators.
No, that was the...
And that's what you guys had me thinking, and that's how you played it off, so that's what you get.
That was a metaphor. I use that as a metaphor.
That's
the example
my intelligence.
No.
Sounds like not only did he slay some alligators, he slayed some trophies, too.
Yeah, that's right. But the example I was setting is that's what is. I mean, would you say getting out of your comfort zone there, and with only 2 hours out is the furthest track. I mean, getting out here where you don't know anybody. I mean, the equivalent for you would be to take some wins away from the guys that you're going to go race with. I mean, as a racer, do you look forward to opportunities like that to go to these different places and beat people you don't necessarily know or race with? Right.
And taking a step back from that, I think. Naturally you're going to set goals that are reasonable but are high, and I've thought long and hard about it. I've had many nights where what I would think about, I'm going to be potentially giving up some wins up here in Wissota country this year. I feel like my program is at probably one of the highest ends and the best it's been in the last couple of years, but I think about it as this is an opportunity, and you can't let these things pass by because you just never know where it could lead, who you can meet, and I'm just going to take it week by week, month by month, and just play it by ear, and hopefully learn as much as I can, and do some racing in the process. And you just never know where things are going to go, and I'm going to use it as a learning experience. Now, are your sponsors and crew on board with this? How are those relationships going to work out? I've had Party Cat last year, maker of world-class snowmobiles and ATVs and side-by-sides. They're a Minnesota-based company. They came on board with me last year. backing up a little bit, I raced snowmobiles for a living my whole life growing up on Artie Cats, and we got them into the race car world last season, and we got them to commit on board again this year. And Speedworks Custom Exhaust, they've kind of been jumping into this race car scene in a big way. I know that they're doing a lot of work with the MB boys here that you just had on, and they've really expanded their header business. And Amsoil's on board, Country Heart's on board, Wendy's on board, and Quartermaster Industries is on board again. So it's been good to get some sponsorship sewed up for me again this year.
Now, you mentioned snowmobile racing a couple of times, and I stopped by a racetrack when I was up there for the Western Swing of the World of Outlaws, and I was driving from, I've seen the racetrack twice, once going to Winnipeg, coming back to Brainerd, and it's Buffalo
River Racetrack. Yeah, Buffalo River Race Park.
Now, do they race? Okay, that's those places got enclosed grandstands and whatnot. Do they race snowmobiles there, or race something during the wintertime there? Is that why they have the enclosed?
Yep, they're a Sunday night speedway. It's a fun little track. It's 2 hours from our shop here. Little quarter mile, I think. Black dirt. She's a pretty good race there. They grab a good crowd and a good car count, and that's a Sunday night speedway in the summertime. And then the ISOC National Snowcross Tour, which I followed, and I currently am a crew chief for the Artie Cat Factory team during the winter months. We've raced there the last 2 seasons, I believe, at that facility, and it's an awesome place.
So do they race? And I'm pure ignorance when it comes to snowmobile racing. Is it an oval track event or is it a course event?
It's a course event like picture Supercross, motocross. It's
gotcha,
the bumps and jumps, and yep.
Well, I know that there's people that cover it. I've seen that at least on Facebook that people cover the snowmobile racing, but I'm still pretty ignorant. But that's pretty cool. And I was wondering about that racetrack. Of course, there was nobody there. I park in the parking lot. I just get out and start taking pictures. You got it. If I'm not going to be at least see a race there, I've got to say I've been there at least.
Yeah, exactly. For sure.
So it was a very, very nice laid out racetrack. All right, man. Well, Dan, when does all this stuff go down? When are you coming down to the middle part of the country and start racing with us?
The plan is that I'd like to leave Saturday from up here in Minnesota, packing up and coming down with my girlfriend Ashley. She's committed to make the move with me, and we're gonna do as much as we can to learn as much as we can and take it race by race and see what we can learn.
Miss Ashley,
you know what kind of people you're going to be hanging out with, right?
Oh yeah, I'm starting to realize that a little more and more. No, I'm just kidding. They're
really, one of those guys
definitely
is not allowed in a country in this world.
No, wait a second. Now you know the story, Dan, about I can't think of his name now, but Charlie, yeah, Charlie Schwartz. We had Charlie Schwartz, and we had,
and he's not even the craziest one.
No. But Charlie was in Australia.
Have you been catching up on your moonshine tolerance?
Well, I've been hearing a little bit about this, but maybe you guys could shorten the learning curve for me.
Okay.
There's no learning curve on that.
Jack Hewitt, Charlie Schwartz. They go to.
You're either stand up or fall down, Webb.
That's right. Yeah, that's the only measuring stick there is. They look at you, and if you're out, you're out. If you're not, you're drinking more. But Charlie Schwartz and Jack Hewitt went to Australia. And you can Google this, by the way, on YouTube. Go to YouTube and search Charlie Schwartz in Australia. Or
listen to the show where we had Charlie and...
They incited a riot and then were banned from Australia. Like, they were not allowed to go back to Australia. Of course, and that's the elder statesman of the bunch. Now you got Rooster Nation, which Dustin Linville, you'll probably meet him. And, of course, Jackie Boggs, and Jackie's great. We talked to him one time about he needs to come on the show. We got to get him on the show, but he said somebody questioned his engine setback, and it was just ridiculous what they were saying. But I told him, I said, hey, we were just kidding. It was a joke. We were just kidding. He's like, don't even worry about it, man. I like it all stirring up shit. Somebody said that's a pretty good impression of him. I don't know. Well, Dan,
I don't know. That sounded like Sling Blade.
Well, Dan, before we let you get out here, again, thank the sponsors and some of the people that turned the wrenches on that race car for you.
I just can't thank Artie Cat, Speedworks, Amsoil, Country Hearth, Wendy's, and Quartermaster enough. They've been behind me on my racing program, and my mom and dad for supporting me and busting their tails ever since I was a young kid, coming up through this deal. And you guys know as well as anybody, this racing is a passion, and it's a sickness, and it's a deal where you gotta love to do it. Otherwise, it can be a long road. And they've been behind me 100%, and I just can't thank everybody enough. All my fans, all my crew. That's probably going to be one of the biggest things that I miss. I had a really dedicated crew up here. Had guys that I think last year I ran 77 races, 2 cars, and 1 season, and it takes a dedicated crew, and they bust their tail for me, and they believe in me, and I just can't thank them enough.
All right, well, get down here, bust your ass, get you a win. We'll have you back on, and we'll celebrate a win here on In the Dirt. How about that?
Sounds good, guys. Thank you.
All right, safe travels. Dan Ebert is going to join Brian and his bunch there in the Cincinnati area. Go racing with Jackie Boggs. Well, let's keep going. We've got our last guest
and this
on hold.
guy we've got coming on next.
That's right. He'll be racing up against.
He's gonna have to deal with him too.
Mr. Scott James, I appreciate you holding. Welcome to In the Dirt, sir.
Hey, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
You guys have that number 1 car in Knoxville has kind of been, last few years, kind of a revolving door of drivers in and out of it. And then also, hell, I've even seen the same car at a crate race. So, I mean, they've even swapped motors out, and they're trying to find something or somebody in that car. It seems like this year that they found something with you in it. Talk to us about driving the house car for Goddard.
Well, it's kind of like how all the pieces of the puzzle seem to all fall together in a short period of time. Right before Christmas, I had lost my ride with the Riggs Motorsports I ran the past 2 years, and I was working on another deal with a guy, and he contacted me and said, hey, I'm not ready to do this. I'm a year away or 2 years away from doing it, and I was sitting there about around Christmas, and I was like, oh, here we go. Maybe I may not be driving this year. And I just decided, about, I can't remember, it may have been 10 or 11 years ago, I drove one of Sanford's cars. And I was like, they've had a lot of drivers in that car over the last couple of years. If I can bring a guy with me and maybe bring some stuff to the program, maybe we can make something work here. And so I called Sanford the week before Christmas, and he was like, he goes, we might be able to do something. So basically, that was the last I heard from him until like the second week of January, or third week of January, and he called me back, or I called him. I can't remember what it was. He said, you think you can, make all this stuff happen in a short period of time? And I said, well, let's give it a shot. And I made some phone calls to my old car, Ron Powell, and he was back on board. He was going to be on board anyway. And I told him, I said, it looks like I got a chance to run this Warrior house car this year. It's going to take some help from some other people. You think you might be interested? And he said, yeah. He goes, I'm in. He said, it sounds great. And, I talked to Sanford a couple times between the third week of January and the end of January. And I said, hey, I'm finishing up my trailer. And he goes, well, we're finishing up the cars. And I said, do I need to come down there? He goes, no, we'll get it. We'll take care of everything. So basically 2 days before we went to the World Outlaw races at Scraven, nobody knew what was going on. We were being asked a bunch of questions, and then boom, all of a sudden, they announced that I was driving the Warrior house car for the year. So it was a pretty neat deal. It's been fun.
I mean, now I want to talk to you about this race over the weekend, and you didn't have too much problems really out of guy trailing you. You had a lot of problems out of lap cars. What was there anything in the 5 car in particular? What was going on okay, just tell me about the race. What was going on with lap cars?
Well, Florence does things a little different. I mean, if you've ever been to Florence for any of their specials, if it's not obviously they don't run any outlaw races there, but if you go there for a Lucas show, the Lucas, the flag people, they use what they call a layover flag. You guys probably heard that, and you hold your position, the leader's behind you. Well, Florence doesn't use a layover flag. So the guys that you're lapping, they have no idea where the leader is, and if you're right behind them and they're racing a guy in front of them, they're racing the guy in front of them, and you got to get by them. So basically, you're firing slide jobs on lap cars quite a bit, or you're driving around them, or what have it, And basically, that's what, from what I see when I watch the race on video, that's what I'm seeing. Just the lack of a layover flag pretty much caused the problem with the lap cars.
Well, it seemed like, and I don't know who was driving it. You guys were off camera, and the announcer says James having a problem with the lap car, and then you dive to the bottom. That lap car went high, and you exit out of 2, and it's like he shot and just hit you in the back right. Was that gentleman giving you a shot, or is that just hard racing for a lap car?
I just think the fact is that I don't know the guy. I've never seen him race. I just think it's maybe for a better word, lack of not being there in that situation where over the years when I've raced in big races and stuff, and you're struggling a little bit. Sometimes when you start in the back of some of them races, the leaders are coming, and you give them the respect. When you get when the leader comes around, you give them the respect, and you just let them go a lot of times. And I just think maybe just not being around racing enough, maybe and maybe he didn't see me. I don't know, or maybe he thought he was racing somebody for position. I don't know. You'd have to ask him that question. You're asking the wrong guy on that one.
You know who that was in the 5?
No,
well, neither one of you. That's either Jared or Stephen Breeding.
Okay.
I don't. I mean, no offense to
the
either.
Breedings from 201 Speedway. I'm sitting here watching it. I don't know what his deal was. He just wanted. I guess he just was mad that you got past him.
I don't know.
He thought he was racing for the lead.
I'd say lack of experience. I haven't seen him a lot, and he's probably just trying to get laps. And he got in the show at Florence, which is that's a good accomplishment. But I don't fault anybody. I fault the fact that we don't have a layover flag. To be honest with you, I think that should always be used because if you go to a Lucas race or something, a lot of times they might say something on the radio, or an outlaw race, hey, the leaders are on you, hold your line, stuff like that. So, it's not a big deal. I'm just glad it didn't cut the tire down or something like that.
Well, I always heard this, and I'm not a racer, although I'd love to be one, but I'm not a racer. But I've always heard that if you don't see a race in front of you, there's probably one breaking out, one behind you. So he should have known better. Well, looking here, looking at the World of Outlaw points, you got the 1G sitting in 7th place. Is that the schedule that you're going to find yourself? That's what you're going to be doing.
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, yes, that's what we're going to do. I mean, we announced it about 3 weeks ago, or I can't remember, maybe 4 weeks ago. The fact that we put ourselves in position that we were in the top 10 of the points. I think we really could be higher. There was 2 races where I actually pulled off 2 races in Florida. One in, I can't remember. I think one was at Ocala and the other one was at Screven, and we were only 4 races into it. So I pulled off because we got wrecked once, but and then the other one I made a bad tire choice. But once we left Florida, and I realized that the team. I mean, first off, Sanford and all his guys down there, Kevin and Mike and Jo and Dallas. They got 4 really good guys inside that shop that can get a lot of stuff done. I mean, they're not. They don't build 150 cars a year, but the cars that they do put out, from what I could see, is there's a lot of attention to detail from what I see so far. So, and then right next door, I mean, Sanford and Larry Clark, they've been friends forever at Custom Race Engines. So you got Larry in there and Jeremy. And to me, I never drove. I drove Sanford's car years ago, and I never have had any custom motors. And so far, I mean, we're not lacking any power, and we haven't had any issues with any problems, and the cars have been great. So, I mean, and coming out of Florida, usually in Florida, that's where you see a lot of problems come up with things. So, obviously, I think the program's really in really good hands with them guys in Knoxville, and they know what they're doing.
And last year, and no, this isn't a knock on what Daryl accomplished, Lanigan, but last year I went to enough of the World Outlaw shows that it was just freaking boring. I ain't gonna lie to you. It was because you know it just was boring most of the time. I don't mean that bad. It just was. But now,
well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Daryl's pretty good, you know, and then you had the lack of Josh Richards on the series last year. So,
that's
I mean,
right.
there's a lot of good drivers on that series. Obviously, Daryl hit on some stuff that was really good last year, and, you know, you can't take that away from him. He had a really awesome year, you know, and he's going to be that same way this year. Obviously, you look at the results from Florida, it's going to come down to Josh and Daryl, and you got to go, and that's the guys you're going to have to beat, you know. And I mean, Rick Eckert's good. Really good. Look at his record. Shane Clanton, all them guys. Tim Fuller, Chubb, Tim McCready. I mean, Tim McCready is driving a Warrior car, and I mean, he's been nothing but great for Sanford's program and great for me to bounce stuff off of. So there's just a lot of good drivers on that series, and I just hope I can fit in well with them and race with them and have fun.
Well, that's my point. That was my point. That this year is going to be so freaking awesome. You got, and this is a Warrior moment. We're doing Warrior right now, but you know, you got the Capital Race car, Shane Clanton. They're clicking. Richards is back. If he stays the whole season, holy crap! Lanigan, Eckert, McCready. You're sitting there. Eric Wells is even having some early season success with his program. And that's 7 dudes right there that can make it probably the most. And Fuller was good at starting out there in Arizona. So that's 8 guys that could make this probably one of the most exciting seasons that the World Outlaws had in a while. Nobody wants to see this thing decided 4 races left. But I really think you guys can mix it up. Now, my next question would be, how much information do you get from Tim, and how much do you guys share with each other?
Oh, it's totally open notebook. You know, I mean, for instance, let's just say Scraven. Obviously, you know, I hadn't drove, but I won a couple Lucas races at that track, you know, and in rocket cars. But I was able to get in the car and feel, you know, some things on practice night that I didn't necessarily like, and I was able to adjust it. And then the first night out, we went third, and I was able to relay a lot of that information over to Timmy, you know, and just making him feel comfortable that, hey, this stuff works. Not only does it work here, but it'll work here. And then we left Ocala, and Timmy had a really good Ocala, but when we got over to Volusia, you know, I hadn't drove the Warrior car on the big racetracks, and Timmy was able to tell me, hey, this works here, this works here, and we had some really good runs there. Unfortunately, we got crashed 3 times at Volusia, but our finishes weren't indicative of how good the car really was. But Timmy showed how good the cars were. I mean, he won a race, he ran third one night, you know, and he was always up front. So, heck, he was leading another race and hit the wall. So, I mean, we all make mistakes, but he was probably going to win 2 races down there. And I just know what I feel being in the race car and being able to make the adjustments that we've made so far and being on different racetracks. These cars have a lot of potential, and I think it's going to be a really good year for not only myself but Timmy included.
And there's we talked earlier about the MB Customs with Berkey. I mean, all these cars are similar in a lot of ways, but there's nothing like hitting on something and the comfortable feeling you get and something. I mean, you obviously are very comfortable right now in this race car. Oh
yeah, definitely. Yeah, the car that I ran at Florence the other night, I only ran it 20 laps, and that was at Volusia on a night that we had to use it as we had to use a provisional because we broke some quick change gears. So I hadn't drove that car since that night, that Thursday night at Volusia, and that's when they had the big wreck down in turn 3, and I was caught up in it. So I asked Sanford I told him, I said, I really feel like we need to make some changes on this car, and he did everything that I asked him to do, and he came up with some other ideas. And so I hadn't been in that car since Volusia, which was, you know, how far has that been out, a month and a half or whatever. Yeah. And we took it to Lawrenceburg had an open practice Saturday morning from 10 to 2, and I went to Knoxville and got the car, and it was ready to go. So I just drove from Knoxville to Lawrenceburg and did some testing and just worked on some setup stuff. Sanford was in Las Vegas, and I was on the phone with him a couple times, back and forth during the test, you know, relaying some things that we were doing. And I got to the point where I was just felt really comfortable in the car. And I said, okay, I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure we're going to be able to go to Florence tonight and be decent. And after we were qualified and ran the heat race, I was like, okay. Called Sanford, told him where we were starting, and we changed a couple more things, and man, the car really came alive after that. Other than our little brake problem, which we found, it was nothing but a brake line. So I mean, but the car was magnificent. It was great, and they just got they got some really good cars, and they're really good people, and they're awesome to work with.
Well, all right, Scott. Well, we certainly appreciate you taking time out of your evening to join us here on In the Dirt. You guys, it looks like you guys have a very big season ahead of you, so we wish you a ton of luck, and I'm sure you're going to not need it because you're going to park in Victory Lane. But before we let you get out of here, I want you to thank some of the sponsors and also thank the crew members there at Warrior.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, Sanford, Warrior Race Cars, Goddard Performance, Kevin Lusby, Mike, the two guys in the back in the fab shop that build the cars, J.O. and Dallas. They do a great job getting the cars together. I can't thank Ron Powell enough for getting back on board with me after he had taken 3 years off and getting back involved. And obviously, all my product people have been with me forever. There's so many of them. I can't thank them enough, especially since they come on this Warrior House Car deal, and they've really stepped it up. It's been really neat to see everybody get involved, and then obviously my family, my wife for for giving me the chance to go out and do the Outlaws because we got a 1-year-old at home, but it's an opportunity that we can't turn down. We got to take advantage of it and get out and do some racing. So got to thank her and my immediate family also. So we're looking forward to it.
We got a late question from one of my listeners. They want to know who owned the green 83 that you guys drove in 2003. You set fast time at Jackson 100 in it.
The green 83, that would be me.
Oh, you were the car owner?
I owned that car back then. Yes. Yep.
So
I can't remember setting fast time at Jackson 100. That guy definitely up. Whoever it is, they're up on their stuff. That's pretty cool. That was a Warrior car, and we actually won a lot of races in that car. So I mean, I was very comfortable then in it, and obviously I'm real comfortable in it now.
He just said it was bad fast.
Well, we did make the World 100 in that car also. So I do remember winning a lot of races in the car, and we ran really good. So, obviously, that was, I can't remember what year it was, but and I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to be in their stuff, and I think it's going to be a fun year.
All right, Scott. Like I said, thanks for joining us here on In the Dirt. We will keep tabs on you and have you back on. Celebrate a World Outlaw win.
Hopefully we can get it this weekend. I feel really comfortable in the car and confident. So hopefully we can get out there and run good and put the Warrior House car in Victory Lane on the Outlaw circuit.
I'll also see you. I'll see you at the World Outlaws in Carolina coming up. What's the 19th and 20th?
That sounds great, man. Look forward to seeing you.
All right, Scott James. He is the house car pilot for the Warrior race car. We've managed to salvage the slow start, Brian.
Yep, just I think we pulled that part off. I'm a little concerned about this Ebert kid though.
Dan is he's about to embark on a voyage to other pastures. So I mean, I applaud the guy. I mean, nothing against Jackie or Aldi or any of those guys, but I don't know, man. I think I don't know. You don't think he knows what he's in store for?
I don't think he knows what he's getting into.
I think it's fine. I think Rooster Nation and Jackie are going to take care of Dan, and I think that I look for big things out of Dan. Just hear me out, and here's why. He's so comfortable. And he's done so well in his area. I bet he feels a little unchallenged, and I think that's what I think. It's a lot of racers probably get like that. So that's what he's doing. I think, and that's just me speculating. I don't know. I've never met Dan. Seemed like a cool dude to me. Hopefully, I will get to run into him. But I think Dan's just has gotten comfortable up where he's at and is looking for different challenges. And if he gets to learn, and he can't learn from. I mean, wouldn't you want to team up with Jackie Boggs for a summer?
Well, if I could choose any, I think that Jackie was just willing to take the money.
Well, I don't even know. I mean, I don't know any situations other than that's who he's. That's.
Oh, I'm sure that you don't. And that's complete speculation on my part.
Well,
but
I see.
We are embarking on that road right now, which is good for guys like me because I know how to operate my own team. So.
Well, we haven't done this in a couple of weeks. We've got to get to my top 25. We haven't done it in 2 weeks. So let me go ahead and pull that up real quick. And you're working on some in the dirt exclusive merchandise, right?
Oh yeah, we've got the Dirt Track Hero line, which technically that is trademarked, Webb.
Technically it is.
It's just like a band name once you've established it in a market.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well,
the Dirt Track Hero line, it's going to be going out pretty soon. I think we should get some T-shirts and stuff though.
Yeah, it's all in the works, my friend. All in the works.
Dirt Track Hero hats, little pins with pictures.
I'm gonna get green and black, one of those green and black beanies with the propeller on top too.
Yeah, and regardless of what you think, because I got my long hair, so I just put the long hair at the end of the zero.
What about keychains that went like that? Did this?
Be a dirt track hero with dog.
That'd be all right.
We need them so you can hit a button and it plays that song.
Yeah.
Like you can get those cards now. I'm sure we can find some little Chinese kid to make them.
So you just press with it. Oh my God, the In the Dirt sweatshop. So you just push a button on your keychain.
Be a dirt track hero with dog.
But or it could, with another one, we would have to do this one. I mean, that would have to
narrow it. You got to narrow it down.
We would shorten the intro.
Right.
But how about this? This could also be one, and I think we would have to do this one too.
Kyle May.
That's
not bad, even though Kyle left us.
You know what I didn't get to ask Scott James?
Why didn't you?
I didn't get to ask because I'm sitting here. I've been looking at just different stuff here, but I should have asked him what his relationship with Robbie Hensley is now. Now that he's with Warrior. I wonder if Robbie's hurt.
Because Robbie's in a rocket.
Yeah, Robbie's in a rocket, and still racing. I don't know if he tried to run the Spring 50 or not. I know his car's pretty much ready. I talked to him a few weeks ago about that, so I'm sure he'll be racing this year. I don't know if he went to the Spring 50 or not. But him and Scott were pretty tight all last year. You know what I mean?
It's just like pro football. If you get traded, you get traded. It's just business. I don't know how. If it's an opportunity for your buddy, you can't be mad at your buddy for the opportunity.
Oh no, I'm not wondering if they're mad at each other or not. I just wonder where that leaves, where that put, if that separates them or not.
Well, let's get to this before we forget about it. This is my weekly poll ballot for the top 25, Dirt on Dirt top 25, and mine shook up a little bit, and I noticed a discrepancy in all the polls since day one, and you'll notice it as soon as I say it. But anyway. Coming in at number 25, first time in the poll this year, Steve Shaver really impressed me over the weekend at Lancaster. however you say it. I can't.
He's still racing?
Hey, that dude was cool as hell, actually. And he's coming on the show. Anyway, Steve Shaver impressed me.
He kind of fell off the map for a while.
He did. When I asked him with him being in the Longhorn chassis and having that much early success, is that going to change maybe his schedule a little bit? And he said that you may see him more now. Number 24, Ray Cook. He's fallen. He's fallen a little bit, as has Jason Fager, who comes in at number 23 this week. Bobby Pierce up to 22 in my poll. Shirley Bryan drops to 21. Eric Wells up to number 20. We just got off the telephone with Scott James. I have him at number 19. He got the win, but I was looking at his World of Outlaws. He had 3 top 5s and 4 top 10s and 8 starts with the World of Outlaws early in the season.
Well, I'll tell you this much about Scott. When he's on, he's going to be fast.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. 18, Jimmy Mars. He's fallen a little bit. Shannon Babb at 17. Craig Spoltz is at 16. Steve K. Spoltz. Anyway, at number 15, Rick Eckert. Randy Weaver falls a couple spots to 14. Mike Marlar is number 13. Billy Moyer, 12. Tim McCready, number 10. Number 11. Steve Francis, number 10. Steve's got to do something here soon to stay up that way. But I put Jonathon Davenport, number 9. What you think?
Did he look good at that race?
Oh, he's looked good at every race I've been at in the Supers, and he's won three weekends in a row, or maybe 2 or 3 of the last 4 weekends, or something like that. Last week I had Brian Birkhofer. I had Birkhofer probably around 13th or 14th. I got him at 8 now. There's reason why he's in the top 25. First weekend out, he gets a win. Jimmy Owens at 7. Scott Bloomquist falls to 6. Shane Clanton's in 5th. Dennis Erb Jr., number 4. How about it?
Mm-hmm.
Don O'Neill, 3. Lanigan and Richards. See, it's still at the top. If I get to, we got Lucas and World of Outlaws not starting up, but they're getting after it now. This weekend, 2 nights in a row, I'll get to see some of the top guys in my pole race. So that's going to clear up some things and maybe make it fresher up the top 10. But does Jimmy Owens even need to be in the top 10 anymore? I got him at 7, but I don't know that he's done anything.
Have you? I haven't heard a word from him.
To be 2-time defending champion of Lucas and driver of the year last year.
The guys I've been hearing, it's over and over. It's Lanigan, and people are talking about Scott James and Birkhofer coming back, but I haven't heard no hear nor say of Owens. And maybe we're not into race season. It's not full swing yet.
It just seems like we've gotten such a crawl here lately, and
we got lots of rainouts.
Wow. I don't even know if my buddy Derek Walden wants me to even repeat what he just typed in the message room. Hang on,
what did he type in? I didn't get it.
Oh no, I'm sorry. This is a Facebook message. I just asked you, can I quote you? But yeah, I do my poll about 4:00 on Mondays every week, and when I got to the top, I just started seeing. Shane Clanton at least. He would have done really well probably at the 2 tracks that got rained out in the NDRL. But I hadn't heard anything out of Don O'Neill really, even though I think he's leading points. I hadn't looked at the Lucas Oil points here. I know he's leading them. Let's see what. So yeah, hopefully this weekend things will shake up in the top. That way we can. Don's got a pretty good lead on Herb, who's running second. So Don O'Neill and Herb, that's where they need to be. I think the top 2 in each, which Clanton is number 2 in the World of Outlaws. But I got him up there. He's number 5. really, Richards is clearly was the best driver out of Florida. And then I think you can take Darrell Lanigan, O'Neill, Erb, Clanton, and Bloomquist, Owens, and Davenport, and throw them in a box and just draw names and put them in order how you want to, like that. But for better or for worse, that's mine. And I noticed on 4M they talk about our polls sometimes, but this is somebody said something about we reward winning more than consistency. Well, nobody's okay. Jonathon Davenport has been the most consistent and winning, probably out of all of them. 3 weeks in a row or whatever it is, 3 of the last 4. I mean, that's pretty consistent, and he's winning. But at this,
I wonder what it's like for him. I wonder what it's like for him though, being out of that ride, with at Clint Boyers and being in this one. I wonder what the difference. Like some of this, he has to be going up against a little bit of, I don't know, what would you call it?
Told you so. Well, if you Dirt on Dirt, there's a little free box on the right-hand side of the page, and you click on that, and in his comments there, he just said that he felt like maybe some people thought he was couldn't get it done last year, and this only goes to show that he can. So he's obviously way more comfortable at the AES ride than he is when he was in the Boyer ride, and I don't know what's going on with that 5 car at Clint Boyer Racing. I mean, it can't. There's something stopping that team from being any good for whatever reason.
I wouldn't say that they're not being it. They're off their game.
Bad. I mean, it's terrible how bad. He did drive it into like 4th or 5th or whatever.
Maybe, Webb. Maybe they're not so much off their game. Maybe it's that everyone else has stepped it up.
That might be.
So.
They need to do something because the 5 car, I mean, just is, and he did good last year. He won it. I guess he won at Lone Star last year because Jimmy Owens tried to throw a desperation slide job on him and it didn't stick. But anyway, I'll know more this weekend about how the top 6 or 8 is going to shake out. If Jonathon or Brian if Jonathon goes on to win, I mean, he's obviously going to go up higher. Herb seems to be finding a pretty good stride. We just got to get the rest of these superstars going. Well, all right, before we get out here, we're fixing to go off the air. I'd like to thank all my guests for coming on. I'd like to thank Jonathon Davenport, Superman. He's just giving it hell right now on the Barry Wright and the AES-sponsored race car. Steve Reeves, Oakville driver. He's out Southern Ohio region. I'd like to thank Brian Birkhofer. Love that. Just freaking love that. Dan Ebert, he's fixing to go to get out of his safe range up there in Wissota land and come join us down here and do some racing. So good luck to Dan Ebert. Thanks for joining us on the show tonight. Scott James in the Warrior House car. That's the first time I ever got to speak with him. That was pretty cool. I don't even think I've ever got to interview him or after a race or anything, so maybe I'll get to this year if he's going to be on the World Outlaws. And with that being said, dude, closing words, Brian?
Let me see. Did I mention our carbon fiber wheel covers were ready? And we'll be at conceptcarbon.net. We did win the bid to get conceptcarbon.com. My buddy Chris over there is a really good guy. If you need any carbon fiber parts, super easy to deal with. Other than that, hopefully we will be at Muller's on Friday night. Hoping to be there.
Racing or chilling?
Yeah, racing.
Yeah.
Yeah, my buddy's got a Trans Am. We're going to take the motor out of it.
Gotcha. I will be bringing all the highlights and information from Jackson, Mississippi, and Kilgore, Texas, Lone Star Speedway, covering the Lucas Oil Series for the Dirt on Dirt. So you guys make sure you log on and check that out. And then, of course, we'll try to get the winners from each show to come on in the dirt. Whew. Have we done a 2-hour show in a while?
It's been a while.
I think it's been a while. Well,
Hey, I got food calling, dude.
Well, for all of our guests, my co-host Brian Gray, this is Webb Dillard, and we will talk to you next week.